Hi, I'm Spargo, and today I'm going to talk about using perfect stems. These perfect stems are a Karen K. Butley product made out of mylar, which is a wonderful product that you can actually iron on, and they come in all different sizes, from really skinny ones all the way through to a little bit thicker. So I use them for lots of different purposes. Obviously for stems, so if I do them on the straighter grain, I'm going to do straight stems. If I do them on the bias, then they would be for curved stems. But I also use them for making them wider and then ruching stems out of them, or ruching flowers. And I also use them for little strips on my background layering. And why I really love perfect stems is the fact that they are a double thickness with a little seam at the back. So when you stitch them down, they give you some dimension, and that is really important for me, especially if I'm using dimensional techniques for flowers, or I am using a lot of dimensional stitchery. So today I'm going to do a 1/4-inch stem, and this is the one, so I'm going to put these back here. And I've cut my strip already, and I cut it 1.5 inches wide. And then I am going to lay my fabric right sides together, and I am going to stitch on my machine right against the template bar. So I first put on a zipper foot. So you want to be able to get as close as you can to the edge of this little bar. So the zipper foot's going to give you that. And I made sure that my needle position was fairly well over so that you can see when I stitch, it's coming, I'm going to start right against the edge of my, the bar here. So I'll just get started, and then I'll make sure that everything is lined up, the stripe here, and I'm going to just stitch very, so you can make lots of little stems by putting, different fabrics on at the same time, one after another. If you need a very long one, you can slip this down as you're going, and you can continue to use a longer one, if that makes sense, like this. You're going to pull this down so that you can, keep making them. So whatever you need, whichever length works good. So I've stitched right along the edge there. So now I'm going to, you can see that I've got it right along next to it. Now I'm going to trim this. So the width of your seam allowance is going to be dependent on the finished width of the stem, because if it's going to be 1/8 of an inch stem, you need a very tiny seam allowance, because you don't want the seam allowance to be sticking out. So I'm going to trim it like that, so you can see I've trimmed away that. And now I'm going to roll it so that the seam allowance comes back to the center back like this. And you're going to iron it. So you can steam it, you can use your flatter, and make sure that it presses really well. And because it's mylar, it's not going to be not going to melt. So I'm using a nice warm iron, not necessarily a hot one because of the plastic, but there you go. And so then you remove the stem, and you can see, look how nice that looks. It's got a nice little bit of dimension to it, and it makes a really nice even stem. So you can see here I've done them also in a pattern fabric. So often I like to do patterns. I love to do stripes. I also love to use a lot of K fabrics where they change color. So let's see what I've used here. Yeah, this would be a good example. Something like that is a perfect stem. Here you can see this is a perfect stem, but I also ruched it at the top. And here's another little perfect stem, another one here, and there's a little one. So, you know, sometimes it's fun to just sit down at your sewing machine, make a bunch of them, and then you have a little bag, and then when you want to do a project like this, you've got them already made. So because they're short stems, you know, something that's about this long is going to give you 3 or 4 little stems. So have fun with them. We use them a lot in my classes, and it just makes for another alternative for doing 1/4-inch stems. So if you enjoyed this video and you want more, like and subscribe.